Hey guys, and welcome back to January month of vlogging, where I'm vlogging every single day, or posting a video every single day for the entire month of January. So, since I have a lot of days to fill, I've decided to tell you some stories that have happened to me in recent memory, and hopefully you guys are finding them interesting. If not, that's too bad, because 31 days is a lot. Decided to tell you about some of the bad dating experiences I've had, because I've discovered that it's really fun for me to just vent them. And again, I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me or to like worry about me that I'm like upset about it still, because like things are fine now, but they're just funny to sort of look back on and just get off my chest. So today I thought I would tell you about a boy that I dated who was a ex-Jehovah's Witness. The second one I've dated two Jehovah's Witnesses, and so far it's never been a good idea. Some of you might notice that on my other channel, my main channel, there is a reality episode where you do see the first Jehovah's Witness I dated. This isn't that guy, but I can tell you that story another time if you want. He's the one that punched me in the face. So that's a fun story, but that's not what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about a boy I met when he was visiting here from the island, which is an island that's not too far from Vancouver, but it's like not very big, so a lot of people will come here to visit. And basically what happened was he was new, he was pretty young, I don't remember how young exactly, but he was like not super experienced, or I didn't think he was. And I think it was Halloween, and he came over and we like hung out, like kind of went on a date or whatever. And then he messaged me after saying that he didn't make the last ferry of the day and he had nowhere to stay. And I was like, oh my god, that sucks. Like, you can totally stay at my place. This is back when I was living downtown with a roommate. And so, oh my gosh, I just remembered like more to the story that I'd completely forgotten. I had a Halloween event to go to. He was not 19 yet, and I think I was like 22? 23? I can't remember. Anyways, he was almost 19, but he wasn't 19, so like, not a big age difference, but like enough of an age difference that it's kind of like, you know, you're like, is there a maturity gap here? But he was really sweet and like really cute, you guys, like really, you know, the cute ones are trouble. Anyways, so I go to this event, I leave him at my place with like, he's just like watching stuff, and I'm like, I'll be back in like an hour or two. So that night I come back to my room, he is not there, his stuff is still there. I'm texting him like, where are you, what's going on? A couple hours passed, he's not responding the entire night. He is gone the entire night. Comes home the next morning, of course like, I'm freaking out because I'm like, this human being that I'm sort of taking care of is like, has been murdered in the city and will never go back to his island again. But he comes back the next morning before his ferry, and I'm like, where were you? And he's just like, oh, I was just like, I went to see my friend, and because she lives here, and then I passed out. And I was just like, okay. But I sort of got a closer look at his neck, and there were like marks on his neck. So I fully was just like not believing him. So he leaves and goes home, thanks me for letting him stay, and I message him and I'm like, so what really happened? Like, I'm not blind. Like, where did the hickeys come from? And he's like, I'm so sorry, like, I got bored and I like went to see a guy, I met a guy off Grindr, and like, I can't remember what he said, if he like passed out or something. I think he said something like, I think I was drugged. I'm like, or you just stayed the night and hooked up. Anyways, so he apologized for that, and I was like, okay, huge red flag, but whatever, he lives on the island, and ends up coming back a few times. Like, he was really sorry, he like really apologized, and he came to stay with me a few times, and we like went on dates, and he was really into me, and it was sweet. And I hear myself saying this, and it's like, why did you give him a second chance? But I am a big believer in second chances. I am really bad at not giving people second chances, especially when they apologize. Like, if you ask for forgiveness, like, it's hard for me not to give it. So, but he was So sweet, so nice. Brought me like a teddy bear, like a stuffed teddy bear, and like chocolates and stuff for like Valentine's Day. And it was just like, we saw each other for a while, and it was really good. And I think he was like asking my roommate at the time, like, what I thought of him, and like if he could see us like together. So he was like wanting to date, and I was kind of just like not sure because of, I didn't know if we had enough of like a real connection, like 'cause I didn't know him very well. He was a little bit closed off. Oh yeah, and then the Jehovah's Witness thing. So he was actually also kicked out of his family for being gay, and so he had some issues from that. He was very closed off. He didn't like opening up about that. He was very sensitive about it, and like the summer came, and I think he said he was like busy because he had to start working and stuff, and like school was busy or something, and like he ended up not being able to come. And I'd be like, when are you coming? I can come see you. I actually did go see him on the island, and then he just like kept saying like he couldn't, like he was busy, and so eventually I just let it go. And later on, basically he got distant and kept saying he was busy, and I was like, fine, whatever, enough of this, like I'm not gonna be treated like this. I had actually moved out of my roommate's place downtown because we had some issues, which I've discussed before, but I'm not gonna get into right now. But part of the issues were that he kept trying to hook up with guys that I would bring around that I was seeing, and it just like he wasn't being a good friend. I moved out. I had my own place, and I was just like, if you want to come to the boy, I was like, if you want to come stay, sometime in the summer, like I have my own place now, you can come stay, like it's totally cool. And he never came because he was busy, allegedly. And fast forward, I think like a year, he ended up moving to Vancouver, and then I saw him in the club, and I was a little bit choked that he hadn't even told me that he was moving here. And but then we ended up talking because we ran into each other awkwardly, and he clearly felt bad about what happened. And I said, well, like I can't just like forget about it, like after I gave you a second chance after the first time with the hickeys and everything, like, and then you just sort of like ghosted. And then he was like, I feel really bad. And I was like, well, I guess we can like go for a coffee or whatever and like talk about it, but I'm not just gonna like let it go. So we ended up going for a coffee, and he was really apologetic, and he told me that he didn't tell me that he was back because he thought that I wouldn't want to see him. And I was like, that's fair, I guess, because part of me was just like still a little bit choked, but I still would have had appreciated if he'd still told me he was coming to town. Like, it doesn't matter if we're not dating, but it's still nice to be like, hey, I'm in town, like let's hang out. So I accepted that, and against my better judgment, we ended up cuddling, and then we kind of started slowly seeing each other again. And I was just like, if you really want to do this, then okay, but like, you've kind of screwed me over a couple times now, and I'm like a little bit wary of that. And he's like, I know, I'm so sorry. And so we actually started kind of seeing each other like properly and like going on dates again. But then the ghosting thing happened again, and it was like, I would text him to hang out. He'd be like, no, not tonight. And then I'd be like, okay, we're gonna end up at the same party because we knew the same people who lived in this house, and they were having a party. And I was like, do you want to be like my date to the party? And he was like, yeah, sure. Didn't hear from him again until the night of. Didn't even know if he was still going to the party. I had to show up to the party, and he's there. We don't talk the entire night. I'm like, this is awkward. Why is this happening again? Like, what are you doing? Why have you suddenly become distant again? And then, oh my gosh, one night before this, when we were supposed to hang out, he said he could no longer hang out because he was sick. I was like, you're sick? Like, you were fine yesterday. How did you suddenly get so sick? And he's like, well, actually, I'm on antibiotics right now. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, what do you know what I'm getting at? Like, so I was just like, dude, be real with me. What are you taking antibiotics for? Like, you were fine yesterday. And he was just like, well, a guy I fooled around with like a couple weeks ago, before we started seeing each other again, might have chlamydia, so I'm just taking antibiotics as a precaution. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's fair. That's a thing that possibly would have happened. But then I didn't see him much after that, and I found out that he was seeing this other guy not a couple weeks before, but while he was seeing me. He was seeing this other guy who I know, which is a whole nother story. But anyways, so it was just like it was just the cherry on top that it was this particular guy he was seeing. And I was like, really? Really? And not only that, but he was the guy that he got chlamydia from while he was seeing me. And which I thought was really shitty because he could have given it to me. He wasn't going to tell me about it. But yeah. So this is like the third time that he screwed me over, and then he starts dating this guy. They become official. I'm like, at what point did it not occur to you to tell me, the guy, or one of the guys that you're seeing, that you're now seeing this other person? Like, that would be the appropriate thing to do. But again, he's young and stupid, and no matter how many times he apologizes, he just keeps fucking up. So later, I found out that the previous summer, when he kept telling me he couldn't come to town because he was so busy, he couldn't come stay with me, he was actually coming to town and staying with my old roommate, who lived downtown, who I'd moved away from. He was staying with him and sleeping with him. The whole time that I'd been like trying to get him to come stay with me because we were seeing each other, he was coming all the way across the water here and then staying with my roommate and sleeping with him. I know it seems like that I kept giving this guy more and more chances that he probably didn't deserve, which might be true, but the reality was that it actually happened over like 2 years, so it wasn't one after another. It was sort of just like lots of good, and then a big betrayal, and then lots of good, and then a big betrayal, and finally I was just like, screw this. And I mean, he didn't even tell me about the guy that he was dating. I had to find out from Instagram, and that's just like so shady. But the thing is, he still lives here, and it's been like years. Like, I get that he was young at the time, but it's been like many years since this happened, and he's still here, and I still sort of see him around every once in a while. He's not like apologized for being a dick, which I know is a tall order for some people. A lot of people don't ever apologize, but I think, like, I do. If I know that I screwed someone over and I look back and I realize that, I'll apologize. And he never did. And so my conclusion is that I am never ever dating an ex-Jehovah's Witness again. And now that I've said that, it's gonna happen. No, I'm just kidding. I'm quite happy with my boyfriend at the moment. We'll see. No, he's good. Alright. Thank you guys for watching another one of my vlogs, and stick around for the rest of the month because I will be posting every single day. So subscribe if you haven't, and see you later. Bye.